What's up, y'all? Had this show scheduled before the CM Punk interview, so I will get to that as well. I just didn't frame the show around it because I had, the thumbnail built and all that stuff. Building the thumbnail is, one of these things I've learned in this YouTube journey and self-creator journey that I've been on. But feeling good today, doing well today. Hopefully, you guys hang out with me, enjoy the show because I'm going to get to a lot of things. You can get the comments rolling right now. But, last night, before I get to CM Punk and, him unloading on AEW, which was not unexpected, really. I mean, we didn't learn anything new, just a little preview. It's just more of what we kind of assumed, and he aired it out there in that interview with Ariel Helwani. And it's not like CM Punk's ever been someone who bites his tongue, right? And, AEW fans are a more niche, hardcore wrestling audience. So it's, I guess, like the perspective that you're coming at it from. And I've tried not to play into the tribalism stuff as of late. I did a little video with a joke there. But as far as that topic as a whole, get to that in a minute. But I did do a video last night on LeBron James haters having a tough existence. And I have to imagine that is miserable. And it just got me laughing because you think about, like, you try to frame different ways to talk about what LeBron's done throughout his career. You try to figure out new angles, new approaches, new ways to discuss the guy. Because at this point, what else are you going to say? What else are you going to say? He's done it all, accomplished it all, been there, made it through, and still going. And last night against the Nets, he goes, 9 of 10 from 3, scores 40 points. I mean, this guy's 40 years old. What is he, 39 years old? Still scoring 40 points a game? And when you look at the way he's evolved his game, that is another aspect that adds to his case in the GOAT debate, right? I mean, I know the GOAT debate can get a little tiring for some and the like, but you look at the 3-point percentage. Check that out. Between LeBron James and Steph Curry this season, LeBron is shooting better from 3 than Steph Curry is this year, than a lot of guys are this year. And that's the beauty of what he's done as he's gotten older, as his game has aged, as he has, evolved. Really, that's the word for it. LeBron James has evolved his game. He has become a better shooter. He struggled with the 3, oddly, in a little bit in some of the last couple of years, but now he's knocking it down routinely this year. And considering where the NBA is and considering his age, it's really a perfect mix. I mean, here's another graphic. Check this out. Look at this one. I mean, it's not that when you see shooting better than Steph, obviously you get the point. But look at this right there. Shooting better than Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I mean, there's only so many different ways you can call this guy the greatest of all time. And it gets funnier and funnier when you see people try to, downplay it or attempt to take away from what he's accomplished. Because there are many people who have, at this point in time, and at this phase of his career, been hating on him for a long, long time, for a minute now. And, I got a lot of reaction to the tweet I sent out last night on how hating LeBron must be a miserable existence. And really, it's not his whole career, because let's be real about it. Let's be honest about it. It hasn't been LeBron's whole career. It's been more the since Miami, since he went to the Heat. That's been when people started really jumping on LeBron James and saying, hey, this guy is not as good as you make him out to be, or he's a failure, or he's a choker. And when you look at the origins of that, it's very interesting, really. It's very interesting because a lot of factors came together there. It's a confluence of factors that led to people feeling that way about LeBron. And much of it was he didn't pick the team that people wanted him to pick. That was a big part of it. He did not choose the team that others wanted him to choose. I was campaigning for him to go to the Knicks at that point in time. I was doing New York Sports Talk Radio, and I did a whole video. Let me see if I can even find it. The Come On LeBron video that I did, Bloomberg. Let's see if I can. Is this me? I think it is. Check this out. So, I didn't even know this still existed. I found it. I'm gonna play this for you here. Check this out, guys. What YouTube is this on? Did I even have a YouTube channel then? Oh, I see. I had an old YouTube channel when it's funny. I went through a phase way back when where I started my own site called Lundberg.me. It was sort of similar to where I'm at right now. And this is from there. But let me play you the bit that I did back in the day.
Arrow helps you get your business online in minutes with the power of AI. With the perfect name.
I really, really want to be a witness. Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
It's like that, you keep going.
Yo, it's the Garden, Madison Square. Who in their right mind would want to play there? Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
Billionaire athletes, Forbes list brand name. Sounds a lot better than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
Global icon, Nike run out of sneakers. Most famous man in the world, Time Magazine features. Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
Keep going.
Leave Cleveland, your teammates are lost. And please bring a friend, Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh. Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
Jeter, Sinatra, Jay-Z, and James will be at the top of the list of basketball names. Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron.
Come on, LeBron. Come on, come on, LeBron. Hit him there, Bloomberg.
Come on, LeBron. Write the next chapter in NYC basketball history.
Cleveland, are you serious? King of New York's got a nice ring to it. One more time. Come on, LeBron.
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 Please.
Come on, LeBron.
Look at that child. Look at that child right there. How do I get out of here? Somehow I went to Cat Williams right out of that. I forgot that I did that video. I didn't forget that I did that video. I forgot that it still existed and was so easily accessible, and I could just pull it up there. But that was I think the origin of hating on LeBron, because he went out there and said he was taking his talents to Miami. And Kevin says the only thing I hated about Bron was it always felt like he was teasing Knicks fans, knowing he was never coming, but objectively he's the GOAT. And yeah, I hated it too. I hated when he went to Miami too. I remember saying it's like a weak move, In retrospect, things changed a little bit, and you see how things evolved. And I think people really hated the not one, not two, not three, not four whole deal more than anything else. I really think that's what rubbed people wrong the most. But when you look back at that, I do believe that was meant for simply the audience at the pep rally or whatever it was that the Heat had, essentially a pep rally. It was a parade. And that was the first time I realized anything you do anywhere can be spread everywhere, if that makes sense. Because now you get caught on camera doing something and it's everywhere. Right? It's everywhere. And that is what happened to LeBron. And then he failed. He failed in that first year in Miami. And that gave everybody the fuel to clown him. And when you look at the GOAT debate, if you are having the LeBron Jordan debate, that failure is indeed what set him back in that argument. Still sets him back in that argument. If I'm taking the Jordan side, that's the first point I'm making. Michael Jordan never had a moment that low. Never had a failure that bad. But LeBron took that failure and refined his game as a result of it and got better from it. And, he became a better shooter. And he had that series against Boston. And now he's going and going and going and going and going. So I do think it just, brought it up for me last night, how miserable an existence it must be to hate on LeBron James like that. and to attempt to muster up, these arguments against him when his career is now inarguable. The fact that he's doing what he's doing and shooting the ball the way he's shooting the ball. Speaking of doing something and it showing up everywhere, he also rapped the verse to the Kendrick Lamar Like That joint last night. I guess the Future and Metro Boomin Like That joint last night. And that was just like, a reminder for Drake and Drake fans, which it must be tough, that song, he's never going to escape that verse and that song. Drake is never going to escape that verse and that song. That's going to live forever. That is, such a monster record and monster hit song and monster moment in the culture in general that it's going to sit there and stick with you. And who was it that I saw post the video from the shop when LeBron had Drake on too? Yeah, here it is. Let me play that one for you as also, because it's just so funny to see LeBron rapping that the way he did, and then to see this be in the archives.
You said that I can never
tell you.
What did you say to him?
You said that I can never let you down.
I said, listen, as a hip hop historian who loves hip hop, I would love for you to respond.
Of course, we want to hear it. We're
I did, by the way.
You're the greatest.
By the way, I did. By the way,
You wrote the song.
I did, and I said terrible things.
Yeah, I said
I
want you to every time respond. Every time I said selfishly in all caps.
Yes, you're selfish.
So it's just funny because LeBron's now rapping Kendrick's part on Like That. But that's all. I mean, I don't have anything very profound to say, except for LeBron James is the greatest of all time, and we all know that. While I'm on the basketball, before I switch over to the wrestling stuff, I don't know if you guys saw these comments from Brian Windhorst, but a lot of people were upset and in their feelings about the Knicks not getting a foul call last night. Jalen Brunson not getting a foul call. I responded to a tweet from Alan Hahn, who I used to work with over at ESPN Radio. And I think Knicks fans were looking for a foul call on this play here. Let me pull it up for you real fast. On this play from Brunson on this drive.
Holmgren 7 feet. How is that? Holmgren 7 feet.
And there was a little body contact there, but to me, that's not an egregious missed call. And I'm not trying to be a hater or anything like that. The ball was already out of his hands. It was already out of his hands when he went up for the shot there. And, Hartenstein sort of pushed Dort into him, which led to part of the contact. And I actually like that the officials are not calling those sort of fouls anymore, or are not in a specific instance, one of those fouls, but aren't calling fouls the way that they used to call fouls because, the way that they've been calling fouls in the past has really irritated me, right? Like, it's really irritated me because it protects the shooters to such a degree that it's almost disgusting. It's tough to watch. It's tough to view and digest because you can't guard anybody. You can't play defense when they're protecting shooters the way that they protected them. So I do understand why the NBA wants to back off that a little bit and wants to tighten up the way that the game is called. And Windhorst saying what he said riled some people up. Let me see if I can find his comments on Brunson real quick and play those for you too. Because Knicks fans are a protective bunch too, which I get. The Knicks have been down bad for a long time. And people want to defend their team and rally around the team. and rally around guys like Jalen Brunson, of course, who's been a star for the squad in a way that they haven't seen in a long, long time. But the Rockets game was a different story to me than the one last night. Here, let me see if well, Windhorse, here's the quote, at least. I don't know if I have the audio for you, but here's the quote from Brian Windhorse. It says, Jalen Brunson is a foul hunter. He doesn't have the reputation of Harden or Trae Young, but he's a foul hunter. He uses the dark arts. This is what the referees are cracking down on. The fouls that he gets sometimes are not what they're going to give him. And I don't totally disagree with that. Because when you look at Brunson, he does wait for contact and get into contact and do the herky-jerky moves to try and draw the contact and everything like that. So that is part of his game. And I think it's also one of the reasons he struggled a little bit more in FIBA than he has in the NBA. Now, I have a lot of respect. I just talked about Brunson on, I think I did a show Saturday. On Saturday's show, I'm not trying to hate on Jalen Brunson. He's been great for the Knicks. He's proven people wrong every step of the way in his career as he's built and gone and gotten better and better and better and better. But that is something that he relies on a little bit. And when they start calling things a little bit differently and he doesn't have the support system, because that's unfortunately something that's going on with him right now. He doesn't have the support system around him. That makes it tougher without Anunoby and without Randall. And if he's not getting those whistles, the Knicks are going to be in trouble. And his game will be impacted by that some. Now, he's tough. He's a dog. He'll adjust. He'll hit those tough shots. He'll use the dribble to get to his pull-ups and everything to that effect. So I'm not worried about that when it comes to Jalen Brunson. All right, let's get to the before I get to the Roman Reigns aspect of the way I framed this show, let's get to the CM Punk deal. I don't know if you guys have comments or thoughts on that, but you can send them in to me right now. Let me know. Yeah, hold on. Before I just circle back real fast because I'm seeing more of what I was talking about a second ago when it comes to the NBA aspect of it and LeBron James. And it is incredible to see that, right? Like, that is an incredible thing to just see. Like, LeBron being better at what Steph does best than Steph this season. Not that he's a better shooter than Steph, but like, there's really nothing there's no holes in LeBron's game at all. He's got the most holeless game, the most fully covered game of all time, where he could defend every position. He could take it to the basket. He's worked on the pull-up game. He's got the deep three. He's incredible as a passer. I mean, anything you could say. It's always hilarious to me when people say he's not an all-time great scorer also, because he's the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. And I don't know how that's possible to be the all-time leading scorer in NBA history and not be an all-time great scorer. So, in fact, he might be the all-time greatest scorer. Dude, that Punk interview is going to live on forever. But at the end of the day, it was just a disgruntled ex-employee talking about his former employer. Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to pile on AEW. I'm really not trying to pile on AEW, but that was a rough look. A rough look. I mean, this quote in and of itself is going to stick a little bit when you see a quote like this. If you're more happy with some goof saying you had 5-star matches and the building is a quarter full, then we're not in the same business. I mean, that's a direct shot across the bow. Obviously, I think he's hinting and taking a shot at Dave Meltzer and company there. But really, what he's saying is that AEW is focused on the wrong things. I think I have the audio from that I can play for you real quick from Ariel Helwani show this afternoon. If you missed the CM Punk interview there, here it is.
If you're more happy with some goof saying that you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
So there you go. I mean, look, and CM Punk is a superstar. He is a draw. The biggest moment in AEW history is when CM Punk showed up on AEW television. That is the biggest moment in AEW history. You know, that is when the needle moved the most for that company, more so than I've ever seen before, more so than I've ever seen since. And that's not a diss. That's not a shot. That's just the truth. And look, it was a huge deal when CM Punk came back to WWE. So that's not a WWE AEW thing. You know, that's not one or the other. That's like a CM Punk thing. He is a needle mover. He is one of the biggest stars in the industry. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So I don't know if you can really quantify that in a sense, because you could say it's a huge loss for AEW that he went back to WWE, but he hasn't really done anything but talk in WWE. Now, that's the best thing he does. That's the best thing he does, is talk. I think it's always been the best thing he does. And it makes sense for him to get out there and do it. And he said a lot of things like basically framing AEW as a second-rate promotion, more or less. You know, that was what he was hinting at, that's what he was getting at. He said that AEW, Tony Khan is too nice and doesn't run it like a business, and doesn't, in fact, get the focus on the things that he should be focused on in order to grow it. And then there was, like CM Punk needs some culpability in that. He needs some culpability in what took place too. It didn't happen on its own. This didn't happen to CM Punk. Some of this happened because of CM Punk. He's not a boss. He's a nice guy. And I think ultimately that is a detriment, but it's not my company. I'm an outsider. I thought I was brought in to sell merchandise and tickets and draw number for pay-per-views and stuff. I clearly did that, but that's not what the place was about. And some people didn't like that. I mean, he did draw and he still is getting talked about, right? I mean, he just goes out there and gets talked about anytime he lets it rip, anytime he opens up the mic, anytime he starts going. But this is kind of old news in a sense, right? It's not new news. It's not anything that is going to be revelatory for people. And AEW is a company that started as a quote-unquote alternative to WWE, as an alternative to the big company that is WWE. Oh, I'm not sure anything that CM Punk said today is going to really, really stick or, hurt in the long run. In fact, it might polarize AEW fans against him even more than they've been against him in the past. Right? I mean, that could be part of the fallout of what he said too. Make sure you like, subscribe, check out the channel, all those things. Going to have time to evolve this a little bit more. I put out a post earlier today, not bragging, but touting some of the accomplishments that I've been able to achieve here in a short period of time, building something like this where I haven't had complete focus on it. But now I'm going to have even more time to put into this. So we'll see. We'll see how that helps me take off and helps me go from here. I think I'm going to be able to also convert it to a podcast sooner rather than later. I was looking into that. But yeah, it's a CM Punk interview. As my man Kevin, who's a dedicated listener and follower, says the interview wasn't new news, but it was confirming a lot of stories that a lot of people wanted confirmation for. Yeah, for sure. Look, don't get me wrong. That definitely was the case. And it's definitely going to make noise in the internet wrestling community. But I don't know. You know, I see people defending AEW and stuff. And look, AEW has been good for the business. I don't think you can. I don't think you can take that away either. I don't think that's right to take that away from AEW and what that company has meant. Because I've really tried hard to be open about, you know, multiple different companies and fan bases. And, you know, I don't know if you guys saw the bit I did where I was a WWE fan and an AEW fan talking to one another. See if I can find that one for you too, because that was sending it up a little bit. Because at some point it gets a little too much, and I didn't want to lean into that and be a instigator or a prick about it, being somebody who prefers WWE. AEW has restored my love of wrestling. Thank you, Tony Khan. Yeah, you and the other 12 people in attendance. Well, I had my stopwatch out, and SmackDown only had 28 minutes of actual wrestling. Enjoy your talk show. What do the ratings say? It's not my fault children like sports entertainment and not real professional wrestling. Give me Osprey. You take Omos. Dude, we've got The Rock, a part-timer, just like your champ. Actual stars, not just 5-star matches from dirt sheets. Just appreciate all wrestling. Okay, see you at WrestleMania. So, you got the point. I mean, that was a fun bit to do, and I think there are a lot of people who got back into wrestling in part because of AEW, and I think AEW put the pressure on WWE to step up their game as well. Because when you're WWE, you can't sit there and rest on your laurels when there is now a level of competition. Which gets me to Roman Reigns. And the title of this show was, I think, Can't Hate on LeBron James or Roman Reigns. Again, I probably should have reframed it real quick, but I had it scheduled and all that. And I wanted to get rocking and rolling. That was before the CM Punk interview. And then, of course, I actually debated going back live or live today after the LSU Iowa game. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe even go in the morning for one of these shows. I'm figuring out the formula here, guys, as I'm going to do these when I feel compelled or when I feel the time is right. Live and learn, trial and error, all those sorts of aspects that come with garnering an audience and embarking on a new adventure and everything like that. Because, you know, a lot of people have success doing it around events too, which of course makes sense. And you cultivate the audience that you get from those specific reactions too. But I watched the WWE A&E documentary on Roman Reigns last night. And the other thing about that is it's not that documentary itself was so great or is the best thing that I've ever seen, anything like that. The coolest part of it was the Dusty Rhodes bit. Dusty Rhodes praising Roman Reigns. Like we heard Roman say it as a part of his promo before that Dusty had talked him up, but we didn't see Dusty Rhodes say it this way. I mean, I'm sure this footage probably was shared before. I hadn't seen it, I guess is a better way to put it. And seeing him say it also was interesting.
First time I seen him walk in a developmental system building, I said Roman Reigns will be a huge star.
So, you know, Cody Rhodes' dad, right there on record, stating that Roman Reigns is going to be a huge star. And of course, Cody Rhodes facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this coming weekend. I will be there, Philadelphia. Looking forward to it. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. And even if Cody does win and beat Roman Reigns, and even if The Rock has come in and taken some of the steam away from Roman Reigns, I do want to acknowledge the fact that Roman Reigns took that ball at the start of this pandemic, or at the start of the pandemic, or at the end, I guess the tail end of the pandemic, because he was away due to leukemia, and carried the WWE to the heights that it reached. I mean, when you look at some of the numbers that the guy has put on the board, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. I mean, the tribal court segment that they did on SmackDown is one of the highest rated segments they've done in recent years. So it's not as if, that just happens because of nothing. There was an attachment to Roman Reigns that was built through that tribal chief character, and that's how he got himself into the conversations with the GOATs. Because really, when you look at it, it's Hulk Hogan handing it off in a way to Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. He didn't really hand it off because it's Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in the meantime, when, of course, Hogan went over to WCW and was part of the NWO. And then you had what took place with Stone Cold and The Rock. But after Stone Cold and The Rock, it was John Cena. It was John Cena. And after that, it's been Roman Reigns. It's been Roman Reigns. And the WWE does not get to the level that it's at right now without Roman Reigns. So I did think he deserved his flowers and his props. By the way, speaking of the Helwani show, it looks like something else happened on that. This was more, shout out to him for some content today. This was more scripted than the CM Punk aspect of things. But let me show you what went down here. Hang on.
I've been trying to call you.
I'm sorry. She told me to.
Hi.
She told me to ignore it.
Hi. Well, I actually happen to be in New York, and I hear you guys can't stop talking about me. And if she's looking for a little bit of attention, well, I'm right here.
What do you mean by right here?
I'm outside the building. Can I come up? Can you make one of those passes for me so I can come up?
Yes.
I've been trying to call you.
I'm sorry. She told me to.
Hi.
She told me to ignore it.
Hi. Well, I actually happen to be in New York, and I hear you guys can't stop talking.
So apparently Becky Lynch, did she crash the show or just on the phone there? Either way. Oh no, she did. So here, she did actually crash the show. Hang on 1 second. Let me find that one for you too. So I'm reacting to all this stuff in real time. A little bit of a chaotic show today. I apologize for that. I'm going to get it a little bit more structured as we go forward here, but flying by the
You want to talk about my daughter? You want to talk about my daughter to get my attention?
Yeah,
Is that what you think this is
Yes.
a joke?
Oh, it's always a joke. It's always a joke. Because you're a joke.
You think it's funny? You
Yes,
think I'm a joke?
Yes.
You think I'm a joke? Well, then let's fucking go WrestleMania. Let's go WrestleMania. We don't even have to.
Oh, you don't want to wait to WrestleMania, huh?
You got a target on your arm now. You got a target on your arm. You got a target on.
I'm looking forward to that match. I am looking forward to that match. Look, that line from Rhea Ripley where she said, "Your daughter is going to call me mommy." Come on. Come on. That is ill. That was an ill line. You got to give Rhea credit for that one. She cooked, as the kids would say, with that line. So WrestleMania week, it's coming up. We're almost there. The excitement is building and building and building. Ariel Helwani with all the star power on his show today. Hit me up in the comment section if you got any thoughts on what took place there. CM Punk's interview, Rhea Ripley's interview. Obviously what I said about Roman Reigns, LeBron James. And then the other thing I had on the rundown. Oh, that's my guy from Chicago, AJ Schreiber. Chicago guy here. I don't hate LeBron. I strongly dislike everyone who worships him, however. Jordan all day. LeBron would have more respect if he didn't whine and flop around all the time. He doesn't need to do those things. I don't think he whines and flops around that much, to be honest with you. I don't. I don't think he whines and flops all that much. I mean, I think LeBron doesn't flop at all when he's taking the ball to the rack. Like some of these guys who are just like this all the time. He may flop like to draw a foul on the other end or, midcourt or whatnot. And you've seen that, of course, plenty of times. But there are much bigger floppers than LeBron who don't get the same vitriol about it. It's just because he's more famous and bigger. I mean, Joel Embiid is a bigger flopper than LeBron James. And obviously, James Harden is a bigger foul merchant than LeBron's not a foul merchant at all. LeBron, in fact, doesn't even get that many calls. He doesn't even get that many calls when he's taking it strong as much as he should, considering what the guy is capable of and considering his reputation. And people always think, they're always saying LeBron, when they're comparing, LeBron would have got that call. LeBron is like Shaq in that sense, where he's so big and strong, he doesn't actually get those calls that some of those guys get. Now, I'm not crying for LeBron, but the crying to the officials too. Did anybody ever watch Tim Duncan play basketball? Tim Duncan cried to the refs all the time. He cried to the refs all the time. Kobe Bryant would go back and snap at the refs quite a bit too. So it's not as if LeBron James is alone in sometimes complaining to the refs. I don't think he does it much more than, Michael Jordan complained and cried to the refs too. We just didn't dissect every clip that we saw back then. But, I appreciate the comment. This dude, AJ, has been really supportive of me in recent days. I appreciate the message that you sent me on the side, by the way. And I appreciate your dedication to following and supporting. And let me say that to everybody out there. The show I did on Friday, obviously was, I was going through it when I did that show on Friday. And obviously you could see it, I'm getting there. Things like that take a minute to fully process and get completely over. But I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know how I'm built. And my approach is kind of like, I'm going to take this day by day. Because if I think out to, if I run the tape to the end, that's where the anxiety can come in. Where you worry about, what happens if this doesn't happen? Or what happens if you don't replace this? Or what happens if you don't get to this? That's where the emotions and anxiety and all that can come into play. Instead, I'm going to control what I can control and take it day by day and build the stuff I know how to build. And I'm very glad. I'm happy that I did that show that I did on Friday, because I've felt people rally around me as a result of that. And it means a ton to have so much support and so many people who are in my corner and have my back and rock with me like that. So thank you. I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. That's amazing. And I got some little news today, a little message today, little things that aren't the kind of thing that you look at and say, okay, this means we're getting there, or this means we're going to be there, but made me feel good about the energy I've put into the universe and how the universe is going to respond in kind. It's not all going to come at once, but as long as I'm true to myself and true to the work and true to the relationships and the people and the fans that's going to pay dividends. So I did get, what I would call good news today, which I'll share with you when the time is right. Small, nothing, nothing, not like major announcement, but something. And one something can lead to another something that can lead to another something. And then eventually it's the thing. And that's what I'm working towards as I fine tune this and speak to you guys honestly and authentically. Shout out to my buddy Vega. He's been there for me in this process too. I mean, he told me authenticity was my superpower. And that has helped me as well. And I think you guys connect and rock with that too. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I certainly think that is something that matters and resonates with you all as well. And that's why you're here. And I know I've been moving the times around, so it's hard. Not everybody can be here for each one of these things. But I'm going to evolve the channel. And like I said, I don't want to lock myself into a time anymore now that I have a little bit more flexibility on when I could go. And I will try to do it more around either the stories or the events. In this case, today was just more like, all right, it's Monday. Why don't you go? And then the CM Punk thing happened. I should have adjusted perhaps the lead of that. I probably would have drawn more attention to myself off the bat. But the LeBron thing I put out last night, the tweet itself is blowing up at the moment. Thousands of likes and whatnot. It's just this. I know it's almost egotistical to play your own stuff as much as I've played it here, but just setting the context of why the show started the way that it did. You know who I feel bad for? LeBron James haters. That's gotta suck so bad. Like decades of misery. My man's still putting up 40 balls at damn near 40 years old, and they're typing away. Stay up, fellas. And what's really reassuring about stuff like that? Like I've done many videos like that they're so casual. I'm doing those from the couch, right? Like just like, yeah. And it does help to know that people rock with me to that effect. Like my thoughts, my quick thoughts, my off-the-cuff thoughts are compelling enough that people are going to share them. And consume them and comment on them and like them and all those other things. What up, Ernesto? Yeah, fine. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Well, whenever you guys can make it. Yeah, whenever you guys can make it, I appreciate it when you guys are in here, of course. So send me the comments. I can work my way back through any of the topics that I've already hit on today. Again, this is all evolving. It's all, I know I say that all the time, but it's still relatively new. And now, I'm not locked into the same schedule that I once was. So that changes things a little bit. And then things happen off schedule, right? Like, I was planning on talking about the LeBron thing and the Roman Reigns thing, and you get this thing happen with CM Punk. Here's another clip from his interview with Ariel Helwani.
Be upset. It's just not predicated. It's not a real business. It's not about.
What do you mean by that?
It's not about selling tickets. It's not about drawing money. It's not about making money. It's just not.
What's it about?
I don't know.
Really?
I think having good matches, maybe. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was recently at an indie show, and somebody came up to me and they asked me, oh, did you watch my match? And I said, yeah. Like, oh, can you give me anything? And I almost really kind of faced like this dilemma, because where I was just like, and I looked at her and I said, what do you think I'm going to say? Well, you're going to tell me I need to sell more and not do as many moves. Yeah. Okay. Because it's a preference, right? Like it's a flavor of ice cream. But then I asked her, I said, what's the house here tonight? And she said, it's sold out. It's an arcade bar in Chicago. And I said, what can I tell you? You sold the place out. So at this level, and this wasn't like I'm on this level and I'm talking down to you, but I said, at this level, you're doing everything you can. I said, but that shit does not fly on national television. I think that's being proven right now. Maybe sometimes, maybe little bites here and there. It's not a sustainable business.
Wow. I mean, those are some strong words from CM Punk right there. I mean, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm feeling a certain type of way about that. I mean, I guess it's also because an old wound is being opened by comments like that. An old wound, being sort of re-aggravated when you got CM Punk saying what he said there. But yeah, that's not the kind of comments that you want to hear. And it's the kind of thing that's going to make AEW fans hate CM Punk. Again, even though I think he called for a truce. I read he called for a truce at the end of that interview. But regardless, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. He's very honest, though, which I guess, like I just said, my friend told me authenticity is my superpower. You got to give that to CM Punk. There's no fake in his, he's never fake. Certainly not fake. And you can't accuse him of being so. What is Ernesto saying? LeBron is just this generation's Michael Jordan. Well, yeah, you have LeBron and Jordan. That's the debate that's going to go on forever. I think I might launch a LeBron Jordan series of some sort. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to frame it to know that to show that I'm in on the joke, right? And not just lazily regurgitating things and putting them out there. But yeah, I mean that's the truth for sure. LeBron's better than Michael Jordan. Last thing I had on the rundown, the rest of it will be comments. Real quick, Beyonce Cowboy Carter album review. I haven't sat with it enough to give you like a score or whatnot. But let me start with the negatives. The negatives is it's a little too sprawling and grand. Too many tracks. I can't deal with 27 tracks. Just too many. That would be a critique. So that's a hard thing to digest. I would have trimmed it down. I would have truncated it a little bit. But with that said, there is so much of it that is that how do you say it? Hits. There's so much of it that is just really, really good and just really, really strong and really, really brave and inventive. Danny says more tracks for streaming, I believe. Yeah, I probably right. I mean, you game the system by getting all the streaming up there. You definitely game the system that way, and that's probably part of the reason for it. But I also, it's a little too long for my taste. But man, the songs that are good are really good. The song with Miley Cyrus is fantastic. Like that's like an instant classic. What's it called? Two Most Wanted. People are going to be singing that song forever. That's going to go number one. I'd be shocked if that doesn't go number one. That is a legendarily awesome, great song. I love that song. So shout to, them for putting that together. Miley sounds great on that song, by the way, too. She sounds great. And then there's, looking at the track list, what's the Cowboy Carter track list? Let me pull it up real quick. I'll tell you the ones that really resonated with me. I mean, I'd heard Texas Hold'em, obviously. The Blackbird cover's fine. Yeah, the beginning of it, I like Bodyguard. But to me, where it really hits, Two Most Wanted. I like the Post Malone song, Levi's Jeans. I like Yeah, 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 Yeah. That one's good. That one's really good. River Dance is really good. And the Sweet Honey song is really good as well. So I do want to give Beyonce her credit. I think sometimes, like the things online are, it's to salivate and to gas up an artist and everybody gets all excited. I prefer this to the Renaissance album, the first one, because to me, this one, I don't know, that just wasn't my speed. That type of, I like dancing, but that type of dance music isn't exactly my thing. In this case, this is more, some of this is more my speed. I think, Ernesto, you're saying Jolene. It was okay. The original Jolene is much better. I didn't love the Jolene cover. It's fine. But I love Two Most Wanted. I really like Levi's Jeans. I really like the Honey Pot song. I really like River Dance. That one might be my second favorite to Two Most Wanted. There's, so start listing them off. I really like Ya Ya. That's 5, 6, start listing off like any album where you're taking away 5, 6, 7 songs that like you'll play a lot, I'd say is a good album. It's just there's too many songs on the album. But to each their own, different speeds, different strokes for different folks. So I'm sure everybody's finding their individual favorites, and that's always good too. Not saying there's any negativity for that, but that's my review. I definitely like the album. Definitely like the album, and that's what I got for the show today. Right now, I don't know if I'll go live. I'm probably not going to do another one today. Later, that's a little overkill, a little OD. But I'm looking forward to the LSU Iowa game tonight and Monday Night Raw, of course, tonight as well, with The Rock in the Barclays Center, Roman Reigns in the Barclays Center. I just didn't want people to lose sight of the fact, because The Rock has drawn so much attention of late, and people have said he's overshadowed Roman. You can't ignore the last 3 years. You can't ignore the last 3 years, or whatever the case may be, where Roman Reigns has delivered and carried and built the. Remember the honorary ooh stuff with Sami Zayn and how big that is and was. All that was real, and people forget about it. People forget about it. So, well, they don't forget about it. That's the wrong. People dismiss it. We know they didn't forget about it. We know they didn't forget about it. We were there, and people have been doing this for 3 years, and Roman has carried the wrestling business for a long time until Cody rightfully did what he did, and of course, The Rock making this return right now. The CM Punk, the eventual CM Punk Roman Reigns feud is going to feed families too. That's going to be great. My man Kaz says CM Punk remains the most interesting man in wrestling. And it's hard to disagree. It's hard to disagree with that, because CM Punk, when he speaks, people listen and people react and people have something to say. So that's what I got to say for the show today. Hit me up in the comments if you got anything else you want to add. Again, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for what you've done to help me and rally around me and show me that what I did the other day was the right thing to do, opening up that Raw. And I'm gonna go get my hair cut soon here. Look at this. I'm gonna clean myself up a little bit and get back on my grind. Get back out there and make the stuff I know how to make, and do the stuff I know how to do, and control what I can control, and conquer things one day at a time. One day at a time. But you guys have helped make that a much more achievable and enjoyable experience. From when I started doing this to now. When I started, I guess I sort of, my spider sense, well, I mean, it should have been tingling. We all got fired at the same time. But my spider sense was tingling enough to say, you cannot wait for the Magic Rescue Ship. And then the Magic Rescue Ship came and I didn't get on it. So I did the right thing by not waiting for the Magic Rescue Ship. And then, I think I did the right thing by sharing with you guys the way that I did. If you didn't catch it live because I'm jerking you around with the times, make sure you get the comments in after the fact. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you comment later, I will get back to the comments. Appreciate you guys always. Till next time on the Same Robin channel.